World champion Magnus Carlsen humiliated Grandmaster Gata Kamsky, not only on the board but also off the board. But before delving into that, I really want to thank my viewer Best Tech World who gave me a super thanks of rupees 40. Thank you so much Best Tech World. You really made my day. I wish you great success in chess. And now coming back to our game. So Gata Kamsky was playing with the white pieces and Magnus with the black one. And this game was played online between the two players on chess.com in a 3 minutes time format. When Magnus was starting the game, he just teased Gata Kamsky by calling him FFL. Now, those who are following Gata Kamsky for quite a long time must already be knowing what an FFL is. So here is how the two players started the game. So e4, c5, we are seeing the Sicilian defense, and knight f3, knight c6, d4, c takes d4, knight takes d4, and now Magnus plays e6. Kamsky moves the knight to the b5 square, planning to jump on the d6 square, forking black's pieces. So then black would be forced to trade his bishop for the knight, which Magnus obviously wasn't happy with that plan. So in order to avoid knight to d6, Magnus himself played d6. And now Gata played c4, taking a strong control of the d5 square. Magnus replies with knight to f6, attacking the pawn as well as controlling the d5 square. The other knight develops to c3. And now Magnus kicks Gata's knight by playing a6. Knight moves to d4. It's a very strong centralized knight over here. And now Magnus challenges the center with d5. And here we will see a series of exchanges of pawns and pieces. So pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn, knight takes pawn. And now Gata plays knight takes knight and pawn takes knight. And we have reached a position where Magnus has an isolated pawn on the c file. Gata develops his dark squared bishop. Magnus does the same. Kamsky develops his other bishop, both players castles, and now Magnus develops his rook to the semi-open file, rook to b8, attacking the b pawn over here. And here Kamsky decides to go for more exchanges. So he takes knight and now pawn takes knight. Now why did he do that? Well, Magnus' knight was quite strongly sitting in the center of the board. So Kamsky decided why not get rid of this strong piece while also emptying a very good square for his dark squared bishop, where it can control black's king side. Magnus understood the idea, so after these exchanges, Kamsky developed the bishop on the long diagonal, bishop to c3, eyeing the weak g7 pawn, and here Magnus played bishop to c5, developing his bishop to the white's king side and also eyeing this weak pawn over here. Kamsky doesn't like this idea, so he decides to trade bishops here. So bishop to d4, asking to trade bishops. So bishop takes bishop, queen takes bishop, and now queen to b6, offering another trade of pieces. Now obviously Kamsky can't go after a free pawn over here because Magnus would simply capture this free pawn. So therefore Kamsky decided to trade queens as well. So queen takes queen, rook takes queen, attacking the b2 pawn. So pawn moved to b3. Magnus developed his light squared bishop, so he played bishop to e6, forming a very good chain of this pawn and pieces, also providing a strong defense to this isolated d pawn over here. Kamsky develops his rook to the open file, rook a to c1, and here Magnus plays rook to c8. Well, that's a mistake. Why is it a mistake? Well, although Magnus seems to be challenging Kamsky's rook on the open c file, but it's not a good move. Because after these exchanges, we see that Magnus has just undeveloped his bishop and this pawn again is unprotected. And after this, Kamsky simply wins a tempo by playing rook to c1, attacking this bishop one more time. So the bishop has to move again. So it just leads to a lot of waste of time, and that is why we see that Magnus' move of playing rook to c8 wasn't a good move. It was a mistake because it's just leading to a loss of time. Let's go ahead. And now Kamsky plays rook to c5. It's a very good move, planning to come on the a file and double up pressure on this isolated pawn over here. King moves. Both the players are trying to activate their king. King moves and now king attacks white's rook. Rook moves to the a file, double attacking this isolated pawn over here. Magnus defends with his bishop and now king to d2, and here Magnus plays g5. Well, what's the idea? Well, Magnus is just trying to secure a good square for his king, which is the e5 square. So g5 just stops any of Kamsky's plan of playing f4, h3 by Kamsky, and now king to e5. Magnus' king is placed in the center of the board and is highly active there. Kamsky plays bishop to f3, double attacking this pawn over here. Magnus defends with his bishop, bishop to e6, but bishop to e6 is slightly inaccurate. A better move over here would have been to play bishop to b7, where it can protect both of these pawns. But since both the players are playing a very fast game, So Magnus made a slightly inaccurate move with bishop to e6, bishop to e2 by Kamsky, bishop to e6 again, bishop f3, and clearly Kamsky is repeating moves and looking for a draw, but Magnus doesn't want a draw, so he refuses to repeat moves and rather plays rook to d6 over here in order to protect both the pawns. Bishop to e2 by Kamsky, and now h6. The idea is that Magnus is just putting his pawn on a dark square because he has a light squared bishop, also providing a defense to this pawn over here. Bishop to d3, and now rook to f6, attacking the pawn over here. Kamsky defends with king to e3, rook to c6, trying to get over here. g3 by Kamsky, giving up a pawn over here, but if Magnus takes it, which is what happened in the game, then Kamsky can take Magnus' other pawn. Let's see how the game went. So bishop takes pawn by Magnus and f4 check by Kamsky. Pawn takes pawn, king moves here, and now rook takes pawn, rook takes rook, bishop takes rook, and we have reached a position where the material is equal and this game is technically a draw. And here we see Magnus saying that this game, although material wise it's a draw, but it could turn out to be a double-edged sword because both the players have strong passed pawns, with white having two connected passed pawns and black having two separate passed pawns on two different sides of the board. One is on the king side and other one is in the center. So this is gonna be very challenging with time ticking on the clock. Pawn race in this game is now gonna get very thrilling and adventurous. So h5 by Magnus, b4 by Kamsky, h4 by Magnus, a4. Both the players are rushing their pawns. Bishop to f5, clearing up the way for the passed pawn. a5 by Kamsky, and now h3. Kamsky needs to clear up the way for his passed pawn, but that would be a bit slow and he really needs to stop this a pawn. So he first plays king to f2. d4 by Magnus, taking advantage of two weaknesses on the board which white has to deal with. Bishop to b7 by Kamsky, getting out of the way of the passed pawn as well as controlling the queening square of the h pawn. d3 by Magnus, b5, and both the players have only like few seconds left on their clock and the game is just getting more exciting. h2, bishop f3, d2. Kamsky surely wouldn't be able to stop both these passed pawns. He's clearly losing this game and also his valuable time on the clock. a6 by Kamsky, and now the d pawn queens, and here Grandmaster Gata Kamsky lost to Magnus Carlsen because his time was up in the clock. Wasn't this an exciting game to watch? So if you enjoyed learning this game, then do like this video and subscribe to my channel. And now it's time for the question of the day. So black here has just made the mistake of moving his rook to the d8 square. And why is this a mistake? Because that gives white chance to mate black's game in just 3 moves. So can you find the winning moves for white? Let me know your answers in the comments box and I'll see you in the next video.